If it's a sphinx, it stinks. Back in the 90s, that was the joke movie insiders often made at the expense of Hollywood Pictures. A film label created by Walt Disney Studios, Hollywood Pictures delivered some genuine hits over its short life, but these successes weren't enough to redeem the label's reputation for misfires and outright bombs. Yet for me, and I suspect many others, that mysterious and haunting logo remains a nostalgic fixture of 90s cinema. Join me for a walk in the shadow of the Sphinx as we explore the rise and fall of Hollywood Pictures. If you enjoy this trip into the Logoverse, please remember to hit the like button and consider subscribing. Every click helps the channel grow. Thanks so much. Disney's attempt to create a sci-fi space epic, 1979's The Black Hole, failed to reach the galactic heights the studio had been hoping for. To make matters worse, The Black Hole received a PG rating, which triggered a significant backlash. At that time, a Disney film rated anything other than a G was deemed controversial. Touchstone Pictures allowed Disney to expand their reach beyond family films. They could now offer audiences edgier, more mature fare without the baggage of the Disney name. For more on the history of Touchstone and its enigmatic emblem, check out my video linked below. Throughout the 1980s, Touchstone produced one celebrated hit after another. In fact, the label had proven so successful that Disney decided to double down. CEO Michael Eisner and studio chief Jeffrey Katzenberg envisioned a second alternative studio label. This sibling, the Touchstone Pictures, would increase Disney's film output and give young executives a proving ground to experiment with new projects. Like Touchstone, this second label would produce mature, mostly mid-budget movies, up to 12 a year, a mix of interesting comedies, dramas, and thrillers. February 1st, 1989 saw the official founding of Disney's newest film label, named Hollywood Pictures. Hollywood has long had a fascination with ancient Egypt, so given this decades-long love affair, it's only appropriate that a film company called Hollywood Pictures would use a classic Egyptian symbol as its logo. On a black background, a shimmering blue halo of light representing the moon illuminates an eerie silhouette. Gradually, the solemn Sphinx emerges into view. The blue light dims, turning into a circle while three subtle lines materialize below, suggesting steps. Created using 2D computer animation, the logo was brought to life by motion graphics company Lumini Productions. None other than the great Danny Elfman provided the orchestral fanfare, adding to the emblem's sense of mystery and grandeur. It's fascinating to compare the Hollywood Pictures logo with the Touchstone banner. Both share a striking design simplicity. They use a deep black background to great effect and even have a hint of the supernatural. According to a 1993 New York Times article, the Sphinx was chosen specifically because it symbolized longevity and serenity. Unfortunately, the company's reputation quickly became anything but serene. The 1990 horror comedy Arachnophobia, from director Frank Marshall, was the first Hollywood Pictures release. Although not exactly a blockbuster, the film scored positive critical reviews and a respectable haul at the box office. By all accounts, a solid start for the new film division. 1992's The Hand That Rocks the Cradle became a sleeper hit, earning $140 million on a budget of just $12 million. The following year, Hollywood Pictures found further success with the well-reviewed The Joy Luck Club. After a notorious split with Paramount, producers Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson signed with Disney. This resulted in Hollywood Pictures landing the Michelle Pfeiffer drama Dangerous Minds, another financial success. They also distributed the box office hits Crimson Tide and The Rock, also from producers Bruckheimer and Simpson. But sadly, these achievements were too often overshadowed by infamous flops. A costly disappointment came in 1993 with Super Mario Bros., a live-action film of the wildly popular Nintendo game. This should have been the start of a lucrative franchise, but ugly behind-the-scenes disagreements led to a disjointed script and surprisingly dark tone. Although the film has since found a loyal fan base, with many now appreciating it as a misunderstood cult favorite, the buzz at the time of release was downright awful, dooming the would-be blockbuster to a fourth-place opening. More damage to the Hollywood Pictures brand came the following year with Holy Matrimony, a comedy directed by Leonard Nimoy. Yes, Mr. Spock himself directed a film in which 20-something Melanie Griffith is forced to marry 12-year-old Joseph Gordon-Levitt, all thanks to an obscure religious law.
Uncle Willem says you have to mow the lawn and feed the flower beds. Ow, tell him I need a manicure and a pedicure.
Leonard Nimoy had enjoyed a successful career as a film director, but Holy Matrimony brought that crashing to an end. With a handful of reviews, the film currently holds a 0% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. That same year, the erotic thriller Color of Night, starring Bruce Willis, bombed with both critics and audiences, later winning the Razzie Award for Worst Picture. 1995's Judge Dredd fell victim to many of the same problems that plagued Super Mario Bros., namely, an inability to agree on a tone. The film caught between the hyper-violence of its source material and the buddy comedy shtick between Stallone and Rob Schneider.
Mr. I am the law.
Still, both movies have incredible production value and extremely impressive physical effects. I'd watch either of these films over anything Netflix is currently vomiting out of its production line. Hollywood Pictures was best characterized by a frustrating 1 foot forward, 1 foot back trajectory. They could boast of well-regarded successes like Tombstone, Mr. Holland's Opus, and Grosse Pointe Blank. But their inconsistency became glaringly obvious in 1996. The same year that saw the release of the action movie classic The Rock was also the year that Hollywood Pictures had its name associated with poorly reviewed duds like Eddie, Jack, and Before and After. Then came 1997. An Alan Smithee film, Burn Hollywood Burn, was one of the worst reviewed movies of that year. In fact, it's one of the worst reviewed movies of all time. The failed satire won 5 Razzie Awards the following year, further harming the reputation of Hollywood Pictures. In 1999, the division had what should have been its crowning achievement, The Sixth Sense. M. Night Shyamalan's supernatural thriller became an instant cultural phenomenon, grossing over $670 million worldwide and earning 6 Academy Award nominations. It was the kind of runaway success that movie studios can only dream of. But in a stunning miscalculation, Disney had sold the production rights to Spyglass Entertainment, failing to anticipate the film's explosive potential. As a result, Hollywood Pictures saw only a fraction of those massive profits. What should have been a lifeline instead became a final nail in the coffin. The label's dwindling output in the years that followed made it clear. Hollywood Pictures was all but finished. Sadly, their more prestigious sibling, Touchstone Pictures, soon followed them into the world of defunct movie labels. Modern audiences were no longer put off by a Disney film rated higher than a G. which had been the whole reason for Touchstone's existence in the first place. Thanks to these shifting industry trends, Touchstone would gradually fall dormant, being officially retired as a film division in 2016. For a brief moment, Hollywood Pictures made a comeback of sorts in 2006, rebranded as a home for low-budget horror and thriller movies. The experiment lasted just over a year, producing forgettable titles like Stay Alive and Primeval. In 2007, Disney CEO Bob Iger shut down the label, opting to consolidate Disney's brands and focus on core properties. The final Hollywood Pictures release, The Invisible, a perfectly titled film that disappeared from public memory almost immediately. While Hollywood Pictures is often associated with flops and missed opportunities, failure does not mean a lack of ambition. For all its struggles, the label produced films that still endure, cult favorites, sleeper hits, and bold experiments that, even when they stumbled, at least aimed high. And through it all, there was the Sphinx, gazing out from the darkness of movie screens, inviting us onto our next cinematic journey. I'm Michael Cahill. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe. There are many more trips into the Logoverse ahead. Until next time.
Mr. I am the law.